Hey everybody, it's Christina from Creations with Christina and welcome back to another video. I am trying to get myself back on track and doing regular videos. So today's video is a What's Up Wednesday. We're going to be using the Flower Patch stamp set along with the coordinating dies. I'm going to start off by using my scallop tag to punch out the top part of my Whisper White cardstock, and then I'll go ahead and start stamping on my images. I'm using Coastal Cabana and the largest flower that I plan on using, and I slipped. I just went too fast with this and slammed my acrylic block down and just smeared the ink, and that was me deciding. That little pause there was me deciding whether I should just start over and do beginning or just go ahead and stamp for the second one. So I decided to just go ahead and stamp out the second one, and we're just going to keep going. The next one is the more of a medium-sized flower, and I'm going to be layering this together once we die cut it. I'm using the Bermuda Bay ink, and I'm going to stamp that down onto my Whisper White cardstock, going a little bit more slower than I did last time. So once I have that stamped out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp out my next piece, which would be the stem to my flower, and for this I'm using the Pear Pizzazz ink. I'm also going to go ahead and stamp out a very small flower that I'm going to use for the center of my layered piece, and I'm just using So Saffron for this and stamping it out onto the Whisper White. So the last thing I'm going to do before I start putting my tag together is I am going to take my coordinating dies and lay them down onto the stamped images, and they line up beautifully. And I am going to use some washi tape just to adhere them in place, and once I have them adhered in place, I'm going to run that through my Big Shot. Now, normally I'm using my magnetic platform and I would just hold it in place, but because I wanted to do a whole bunch of them at one time, I thought it was better that I use the washi tape. I am going to stamp out my sentiment, which also comes from the Flower Patch stamp set, and this is Happy Blooming Birthday, which I think is adorable, and I'm using some of my archival jet black ink because I want a real nice crisp black sentiment. And then I'll go ahead and start putting my flower together. I'm using dimensionals to go ahead and pop up my flower. This will be just the flower piece that I'm popping up. Gonna take my largest, and I'm putting that underneath my sentiment and slightly to the right. And then I'll go ahead and pop up my next layer, which would be the medium-sized flower. So once I have my medium flower stamped out, I'm going to take the smaller flower that I stamped with the So Saffron and adhere that down using my Tombow Mono Liquid Adhesive, and I'll just put that right in the center. So once I have that center piece adhered down, I'm also going to do my stem, and my stem I'm going to adhere right to my cardstock, or my tag rather, and I'm just using the Tombow Mono for that as well and adhering it right down underneath the flower. So I kind of lifted the flower up from the tag and stuck the stem underneath. And now that I have that adhered down, I can now go ahead and cut my tag down to the length I want it to be. I wasn't sure how long that flower is going to end up being, and with the sentiment stamped right above it, so I decided to wait until after I had it all put together to trim it down. The next thing I'm going to do is take some Whisper White seam binding, which I'm so happy that Stampin' Up! Now has a Whisper White seam binding, because I love, if I haven't said this before, loves seam binding. And I'm thrilled that we now have Whisper White. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that through my tag top. I went ahead and doubled it up, so there's going to end up being 4 strands of the seam binding coming off the top. And I'm going to tie that onto the tag using my linen thread, which I just keep right onto a clothespin, one of the round clothespins, and that keeps those creases that usually end up in the linen thread because they are tied onto a card. They're wrapped around a card, so this way it doesn't have those creases in it. So originally I was going to just go ahead and tie a bow, and realized I think I need to put a knot in this before I tie my bow because it was going to slide right off. So what I'm doing is just adhering it, or tying it as close as I can to the top of the tag, and that'll hold my seam binding in place. So I'm just going to go ahead and tie my bow, and once I have that tied, I'm going to just go ahead and kind of play with it a little bit to make sure that my sides are all even, and then I'll go ahead and use my scissors and trim down those little tags, or little tails. And then I also need to trim up my seam binding as well. Some of them, that one side still had a loop in it, so I needed to trim that down, and then I still had 2 other pieces that were kind of long, so I trimmed them off as well. The next thing I'm doing is just adding some of the in color sequins. They're from the 2014 to 2016 color collection. And I adhere those down with my Tombow Mono and then just use my glossy accents, the tip of it, just to kind of push them down into the adhesive. The last thing I'm going to do is add some Dazzling Details liquid glitter right to the center of my flower, and that will be my tag for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to thumbs up, leave a comment, and if you want more video tutorials, don't forget to subscribe. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will catch you guys all in the next one. Thanks for watching.